Hello, and thank you for joining me, Complete in Christ. Today, we're going to start kind of a mini series as we finished up the book of Colossians last week on an undivided heart. A heart that is fully fixed on Jesus, or firmly fixed on Jesus. I want to read you Psalm 86. I want to read a few verses from Psalm 86. And this has just been a passage that's just been really, really important to me in my life that God has used over and over again. And in verse 10 of Psalm 86 is a psalm written by David. And it says this, it says, "For you are great, and you do wondrous deeds. You alone are God." Verse 11, "Teach me your way, O Lord, and I will walk in your truth. Unite my heart to fear your name." Some translations say, "Give me an undivided heart to fear your name." I will give thanks to you, O Lord my God, with all my heart, and will glorify your name forever. For your loving kindness towards me is great, and you have delivered my soul from the depths of Sheol. David says, look, man, I want an undivided heart. Man, unite my heart to fear your name, or give me an undivided heart that I may fear your name. When I think about an undivided heart, this is what comes to my mind. A heart that is firmly fixed on Jesus. A heart to walk in his ways. A heart that fears his name, that longs to glorify his name, that bows in his presence, that honors him, that longs to walk with him and to love him above everything else. So, what are some of the keys to an undivided heart? I think we see several here. And the first one that I'll mention today is this, is that God, give me an undivided heart. Ask for an undivided heart. As I do, God gives us a heart to understand. Or I would say that one of the keys to an undivided heart is an understanding heart. Understanding that he alone is God. Look at verse 10. Verse 10 says, "For you are great and you do wondrous deeds. You alone are God." He alone is God. He's the maker of heaven and earth. There's none like him. He is who he says he is in his word, not the God that we've kind of made him into in our culture. He is who he says he is. He's great, and he does wondrous deeds. He's awesome. He has done some amazing, amazing things. His deeds are beyond comprehension. But when I think about that, the question I have to answer for me is this: is he alone the Lord of my own heart? Is he the one that rules and reigns in my life? Is he on the throne of my life? Is he on the throne of my heart? There's a lot of things that battle to be on the throne of our hearts, and we have to choose. We have to choose whether we're going to allow the Lord to be on the throne of our heart, or whether we're going to allow some other stuff. I thought about things like just the stuff that we have. And oftentimes we allow stuff to rule and reign in our lives instead of the Lord. It could be that my job or my career is on the throne of my heart. It could be money, that the thing I pursue most in this life is money or becoming wealthy. It could be sports. And man, we live in a culture where that's a really, really big thing, that on weekends, that what we see is people pursuing sports instead of pursuing Jesus, and that's a biggie. And I can say that because I've been there. I understand that sports real easily can become our God and be on the throne of our heart. It could be hunting. It could be fishing. It could be that my family is more important to me than Jesus, and that my family rules and reigns on the throne of my heart. I remember Tina saying how the Lord really used that to draw her unto himself, because she was doing a study and the question was asked, do you love the Lord more than you love anything else? Do you love the Lord more than you do your spouse or your family? And she said, I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that I did love the Lord more than Wayne or my family, my children. But I said, God, look, do something in me. That's what I want. So God, would you give me a love for you that surpasses my love for Wayne and my love for my family, but oftentimes family is more important to us than our relationship with the Lord. Family is important, but the best thing I can do for my wife and my family is to allow Jesus to rule and reign in my life. Man, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be sex, it could be ministry. Oftentimes as a pastor or as a preacher, teacher, evangelist, that I can begin loving what I do more than I love Jesus. Man, I love to preach, but I can't love to preach more than I love Jesus. My preaching has to be an overflow of my love relationship with Jesus, not a substitute for my relationship with Jesus. Or it could just be me, that I care more about me than I care about him, that I love me more than I love Jesus. Therefore, I allow myself and my selfishness to rule and reign in my heart instead of allowing the Lord to rule and reign in my heart. You see, if I'm going to have an undivided heart, I've got to understand who he is, that he alone is God. There's none like him. He has no rivals. He's above it all the stuff, all the activity, anything that we could come up with. He is much, much higher than that. He alone is God, and he has done some great and wondrous deeds. And I need to allow him to be the Lord of my life, to be on the throne of my own heart. I need to understand who he is. I need to understand what he's done for me, and that he deserves and he desires to be on the throne of my heart. One of the keys to having an undivided heart is understanding who he is and allowing him to be who he is in my life. I challenge you. Think about that. Take a look at your own life, at your own heart. What or who is on the throne of your heart? May it be the one who alone is God. He deserves it and he desires it. Let Jesus be Jesus in you today as you allow him to be on the throne of your heart. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching Complete in Christ as we strive to teach you about the Christ life. And we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and may you have a blessed day walking with Jesus.